African savanna donned a peaceful, deep yellow hue. A breeze swept across the tall grasses, carrying the scent of warm earth and the lingering moisture from a distant lake. Everything seemed silent, but behind that stillness lay countless watchful eyes. A herd of wildebeest emerged from the horizon. Hundreds of individuals moved in successive layers. The rhythmic clatter of their hooves echoed like the drums of the vast land. The adults walked on the outer perimeter, while the young were kept safe in the center of the herd. However, at the edge of the acacia forest, a few shadows pressed close to the ground, a group of lionesses. They were not in a hurry. They did not roar. Each step was slow and precise. What they were waiting for was not the largest prey, but a moment of imbalance. Not far away, a flock of oxpeckers perched on the backs of buffaloes, foraging for food. They patiently picked up each parasitic tick while simultaneously detecting any unusual movement from a great distance. As soon as the entire flock of birds took flight, many animals immediately understood that danger was approaching. An eagle circled in the air. From hundreds of meters above, it observed every movement on the ground. To it, every small creature could become a prey opportunity. Meanwhile, below on the grassland, the lions continued to wait. The hunt began. When the time was right, two lionesses suddenly accelerated, cornering the wildebeest in a tight space where maneuverability was limited and distance was rapidly reduced. Despite its attempts to use its weight to struggle and escape, the wildebeest was surrounded by the lions from multiple sides. One locked onto its hind legs, while the other delivered a devastating blow to the face before biting firmly into its throat. The outcome tilted in favor of the predator when the gap separating the herd became a fatal weakness, and that very slowdown was enough to change the entire fate of a life. The zebra herds followed one another towards the new pasture. The impala herd leaped high as if celebrating. The giraffes leisurely stretched their necks to pick tender leaves in the acacia trees. Further toward the swamp, a herd of elephants was also heading towards a water source. The lead elephant went ahead with a slow but decisive pace. Years of memory helped it remember the location of each remaining waterhole after each dry season. The baby elephants scurried around within the protective circle of the adult females. A curious young elephant used its trunk to play in the mud and suddenly slipped into a shallow puddle. In just a few seconds, 3 adult elephants immediately approached. They gently used their trunks to help the young elephant stand up before the herd continued its journey. For elephants, strength is not just about size, but it's also about the bond between the members. At the edge of a large river, the water was almost still. A herd of antelopes began to descend to drink. There was no sign of danger. But just below the murky water lay a huge Nile crocodile. It lay motionless for hours. Its eyes only peeked out of the water. Each breath was so slow, it was almost imperceptible. When an antelope lowered its head too low, the water suddenly surged. The snap happened in an instant. The antelopes immediately fled in a splash. The crocodile did not pursue further. It understood that patience always saves more energy than futile chases. In the tall grass, the lion Pride had more cubs. On the other side of the plain, hoarse laughter echoed. A pack of hyenas began to leave their den. They moved in small groups, constantly sniffing the air. Contrary to popular belief, hyenas don't just wait to steal food. They are highly effective hunters. Their close coordination allows the pack to take down strong prey if the opportunity arises. Sometimes they stalk lion prides. Sometimes they organize their own hunts. And not infrequently, these two predators clash just to claim ownership of a meal. The green grasslands began to turn yellow. While elephants could still travel dozens of kilometers in search of water, wildebeest herds were forced to congregate in very large groups. And that's when the lions knew the best opportunity of the year was approaching. The dry season blankets the savannah in a pale yellow hue. The wildebeest herd continues its journey. From above, the migration stretches like a dark silk ribbon winding across the savannah. Ahead, zebras walk alongside the wildebeest. The two species don't compete fiercely for food, but moving together offers mutual benefits. Zebras have excellent eyesight. Wildebeest possess a keen sense of smell. When combined, they detect danger much sooner than if they lived separately. Not far from the migration route, a herd of elephants has just arrived at a watering hole. The adult elephants stand in a semicircle while the calves happily spray each other with their trunks. The peaceful scene lasts only a few minutes. A young male lion appears at the edge of the bushes. It observes for a long time, but then quietly turns away. Even a powerful predator understands that attacking a healthy herd of elephants is a risky decision. Meanwhile, on the other side of the lake, egrets silently followed the buffalo herd. In Africa, many species survive thanks to seemingly simple relationships. Not all creatures compete. Some species coexist and benefit from each other's presence. In the distance, a leopard was silently crossing the grassland. The alarm caused many nearby antelope herds to immediately raise their heads in alertness. In nature, sometimes a signal from one species helps many others avoid danger. The wildebeest herd finally reached the area's largest lake, but they didn't dive in to drink immediately. Hundreds of eyes were fixed on the surface of the water. The unusual stillness was always suspicious, and indeed it was. A huge crocodile lay at the water's edge. It didn't move. Only its nose and eyes were visible above the murky water. The wildebeest hesitated. Then an adult stepped in first. After a few minutes of silence, the others followed. At that moment, the water suddenly erupted. The crocodile lunged forward with incredible speed. The water splashed violently. The entire herd panicked and turned to flee. The wildebeest, despite struggling and trying to turn towards the other bank, was quickly trapped in the crocodile's steel jaws, becoming its meal. The elephants continue their journey in search of new food sources. Giraffes silently stretch their necks to pick leaves from the acacia trees. Oxpeckers land once again on the backs of buffaloes. Crocodiles remain motionless beneath the water's surface. And in the distance, wildebeest continue their migration across the vast expanse of land. No single species truly dominates nature. Each species possesses its own unique advantages. Lions have strength and strategy. Wild geese have speed and herd spirit. Elephants rely on the experience of their entire family. Crocodiles utilize patience. Hyenas demonstrate teamwork. It is this diversity that creates the endless rhythm of life on the African savannah. Here, each sunrise opens a new journey. Each afternoon concludes with a different lesson. But whatever the outcome, the cycle of nature continues unabated. That's a story that has been unfolding for thousands of years. And it will continue on the vast grasslands, where life is sustained by adaptation, perseverance, and the delicate balance between all species